Leo was a boy who loved stories about brave knights, fire-breathing dragons, and even runaway cookies that danced across the kitchen floor. His imagination was as wild as the tales he read, and every story felt like a new adventure waiting to happen. His favorite thing in the whole world was imagining the characters coming to life, leaping right out of the pages and into his room. Sometimes he'd close his eyes and pretend he was right there beside them, sword in hand or chasing after a giggling cookie. Every night, he'd snuggle under his blanket, listening to a story and wishing he could see the adventures for real. He'd drift off to sleep dreaming of magical lands, hoping that one day he might find a way to visit them. One bright, sunny morning, Leo woke up with a mission. He wanted a brand new story, something he'd never read before, so he searched every corner of his cozy room for a new book. Under the bed? Just a sock, striped and silly but definitely not a book. Behind the sofa? Only a lonely crayon, lost and a little bit broken. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he spotted something incredible. A book bigger than any he'd ever seen before, shimmering with every color of the rainbow. It looked almost magical, as if it had been waiting just for him. On the cover, in sparkling, glowing letters it read, "The book where stories wake up." Leo's mouth dropped open. "Whoa," he whispered, hardly believing his eyes. He tried to open it, pushing with all his might, nudging it this way and that, even wiggling his nose for good luck, just like the wizards in his favorite stories. Plop! With a dramatic flop, the book finally opened, its pages fluttering in a burst of color and light. But instead of stories, the pages were empty, just big white spaces stretching on and on. An empty book? Leo frowned, his excitement fading into disappointment. He'd hoped for magic, for wild adventures and new friends, not blank pages and silence. Suddenly, just as he was about to close the book, a sparkly light zipped out from the pages, swirling and twinkling in the air. It buzzed around Leo's head, making him giggle, then drew a glowing rainbow door right in the middle of the room. From behind the door came giggles, music, and shouts for more glitter. Leo's eyes widened with wonder and excitement. This wasn't just an empty book. It was an invitation to something amazing, something he'd always dreamed about. He felt his heart race, thumping in his chest like a drum. Was this his chance to see stories come alive? The magical door shimmered, waiting for him to decide, as if it knew all his secret wishes. Leo took a deep breath, feeling both nervous and brave at the same time. He knew with all his heart that he had to step through that door and see what waited on the other side. This was the adventure he'd always dreamed of, and now, at last, he was ready to begin. Leo reached for the glowing door, feeling a fizzy, bubbly sensation fizzing up his arm and tickling his fingertips. The air around him shimmered with magic, and his heart thumped with excitement and a pinch of nervousness. Suddenly, whoosh! He was slurped through like a noodle, tumbling down a rainbow slide that twisted and looped in wild, dizzying spirals. Colors whirled past, red, blue, yellow, green, spinning so fast they blurred into a magical swirl. Leo felt like he was inside a living painting, every color brighter than he'd ever seen. He giggled as he spun, landing softly in a pile of bright yellow fluff that bounced him gently like a trampoline. The fluff smelled sweet, like lemon drops and sunshine. Leo sat up and stared, his mouth open in amazement, trying to take in everything at once. Around him, houses looked like mushrooms with polka dot roofs. Rivers flowed with purple paint that sparkled in the sun, and clouds puffed like cotton candy, drifting lazily across a sky that seemed to giggle with every breeze. This was Toontown, a world made of cartoons, where everything was alive with color and possibility. Everything bounced to a happy beat. Bluebirds whistled jazzy tunes, a lamppost tipped its hat with a twirl, and a flower winked as it danced in the breeze. Even the sidewalks seemed to hum with laughter. Wowzers! Leo grinned. It was even better than he'd imagined, brighter, sillier, and bouncier than any book or dream he'd ever had. Every corner promised a new surprise. Suddenly, a bright orange squirrel in blue overalls zipped up, holding a giant paintbrush almost as big as itself, leaving a trail of sparkling paint behind. "Hey there! You're new!" the squirrel squeaked, waving its tiny paw with a friendly grin. "Did you fall from a book? Welcome to Toontown, the place where stories get their wiggle and giggle." The squirrel hopped excitedly, its tail swishing like a paintbrush. "Are you ready for fun, for magic, For the wiggle and the giggle? Here, every day is an adventure waiting to happen. Leo nodded, his eyes shining like stars, his heart thumping with excitement and curiosity. He was more than ready. He felt braver and more alive than ever before. The adventure had just begun, and Leo couldn't wait to see what magical surprises Toontown had in store for him next. The orange squirrel grinned. "I'm Squeaky. We're the story painters." Squeaky pointed to a giant, colorful workshop buzzing with activity. Inside, creatures painted, sang, and made silly sound effects. Pink bunnies painted backgrounds, green frogs practiced bowings and kerplunks. "We bring stories to life," Squeaky explained, painting every color, sound, and dance you see on screen. Leo watched, amazed at the teamwork. A bunny handed Leo a brush and sparkly silver paint. "Want to help? We're painting stars for the good night's adventure." Leo grinned, dipping his brush. He was going to be a story painter. He'd help make a fairy tale wiggle and giggle. The workshop buzzed with excitement. Leo felt right at home. Squeaky hopped onto a stool. "Okay, team, today's story is The Brave Little Bear and the Wobbly Bridge." "What does every good story need?" Squeaky asked. "A beginning, a middle, and an end." Everyone cheered. Squeaky unrolled a giant film strip. "In the beginning, we meet our hero, the brave little bear. He wants honey on the other side of a canyon. The middle is the adventure, crossing the wobbly bridge, facing challenges and lots of giggles. And the end? The bear gets his honey and learns to be brave." Leo beamed. He knew the recipe for a perfect story. The story painters got their brushes ready. The adventure was about to come alive. The story painters got to work. Bunnies painted the canyon, badgers drew the bridge, and Leo painted fluffy clouds. Suddenly, Barnaby the beaver shouted, "The middle is missing." The workshop fell silent. The drawings of the bear crossing the bridge had vanished. "A story with no middle is like a sandwich with no filling," Squeaky exclaimed. The brave little bear would be stuck forever. Squeaky's nose twitched. Drawings don't just walk away. Someone must have taken them. He turned to Leo. "We have a mystery to solve." Leo nodded, determined. He wasn't just a story painter now. He was a detective. The hunt for the missing middle began. Leo and Squeaky searched for clues, under tables, behind paint pots. Then Leo spotted tiny purple footprints leading away from Barnaby's desk. They tiptoed after the trail, finding a nervous purple mouse behind a stack of cans. The mouse was nibbling the missing drawings. "Please don't be mad," the mouse squeaked. "I just wanted a taste of adventure." Squeaky smiled. "You don't have to eat the adventure, just help us make it." Leo added, "You can be brave like the bear, help us fix the story." The mouse, Pip, puffed out his chest and returned the drawing, nibbled corner and all. Together they put the missing middle back on the storyboard. All the story painters cheered. The adventure was saved. Pip was now part of the team. Leo realized being brave meant helping others too. The cartoon could finally come to life. The workshop buzzed with joy. With the story complete, the cartoon played on the big screen, filling the room with laughter and wonder as the characters danced across the glowing light. The children watched, eyes wide, as the adventure unfolded before them, each moment more magical than the last. Brave little bear crossing the bridge, honey pots sparkling, thanks to Pip, was cheered on by everyone. The bridge seemed longer than ever, but with courage and a little help, Bear made it across, heart pounding with excitement. Squeaky beamed. "You helped save the story! You were brave and kind!" The friends gathered around, celebrating their teamwork and the magic they'd created together. Leo felt proud. He'd painted, solved a mystery, and made new friends. He realized that every brushstroke and every clue had brought them closer, and that his creativity mattered. He learned that sharing adventures is better than going alone. The glowing door reappeared, swirling with colors and inviting him home, but also promising more stories to come. It was time to go home. Leo waved goodbye, his heart full of memories and a little bit of magic tucked in his pocket. Leo hugged his friends goodbye and stepped through the rainbow door, feeling both happy and a little sad to leave. Suddenly he was back in his room, the big book winking at him as if to say, "Well done, Leo." The room felt different now, full of possibility. He ran to his mom. "I had an adventure. I helped make a story come alive." His mom listened, smiling, as Leo described every magical detail, his words tumbling out in excitement. From then on, every cartoon reminded Leo of Toontown and the magic behind the stories. He knew that every adventure, big or small, could be special if you shared it with friends. He knew the secret: teamwork, bravery, and a little bit of giggle make every story shine. And that laughter and kindness could turn any ordinary day into something extraordinary. And he was always ready for the next adventure, knowing that the world was full of stories just waiting to be discovered. The end.